Hello and welcome back. In today's session, we'll be doing a comparison between the micro and macro environment of business. In fact, in this chapter, which we are dealing with, we have examined various micro environmental factors. And the chapter which is followed by this, we would be doing a comprehensive study on the macro environmental factors. So, in this way, you would be studying both the micro and macro environment, and you would be learning how these both micro and macro environmental factors impact business and what are the means and ways through which a business should be prepared to counter the impact of both these factors. So let's do a comparison and find out what are the differences between micro and macro environmental factors. I have identified couple of elements, and these elements will help you to understand and figure out the differences. The first element here is the definition. So when we examine the definition, microenvironment consists of factors in firm's immediate environment that affect the performance of the company. On the other hand, macro environment is the indirect action, and this action are results of factors which are from outside, and they also have direct effect on the operations, and they also influence the growth and success of the business. So both these factors have influence on the success of the organization, and both needs to be critically evaluated. The micro environmental elements includes factors like functional areas of business. It includes competitors, suppliers, customers, and other marketing intermediaries. It also includes other stakeholders like government and also the shareholders of the organization. On the other hand, the components of macro environment includes demographic environment, political environment, economic environment, socio-cultural environment, technological environment, legal environment, and natural environment. So how all these factors impacts business is something that needs to be studied elaborately as a part of macro environmental study. Then the attributes, the elements of micro environment, all, but yes, by and large, some of them can be controlled by business and modified in order to provide complete customer satisfaction. On the other hand, the elements of macro environment cannot be controlled by any business organization. In terms of purpose, the aim of business is to maximize profit by satisfying the customer requirements, and this objective can be accomplished through modification of the micro environmental factors, which the business has control in such a way to optimize this objective. On the other hand, analysis of macro environment is essential to understand the external forces of the organizational boundaries that are helping to shape the organization. And also, macro environment study provides both facilitating and inhibiting influences on the business performance. In terms of study, to study microenvironment, we initiate SWOT analysis. SWOT analysis stands for strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats, which we shall examine detailedly in this lecture. In order to examine macro environment, PESTEL analysis needs to be carried out. PESTEL stands for political, economical, social, technological, environmental, and legal factors analysis. Now let's focus on the method for analyzing microenvironment. And the most popular method is the SWOT analysis. A SWOT analysis is a study conducted by a company to evaluate its internal strengths and weaknesses as well as external opportunities and threats. It is very important to note, as a successful and growing organization, it is critical that any future expansion decisions are based on market data as much as possible. And this is to identify both opportunities and threats that could jeopardize a certain move. A SWOT analysis is one of the first things many firms do as a part of their planning process. So, this market study evaluates strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats to assist ambitious organizations in overcoming their largest problems and exploring the most lucrative potential market. For example, when we reflect upon India's automobile sector, especially the car industry, just do a reflection. In the last few years, so many car makers have said goodbye to Indian market, which includes companies like Ford, Chevrolet. In fact, Harley Davidson was also one of the companies which had left Indian market. But despite of this exit, one company has cracked the market, and that is Kia, a South Korean car maker. Imagine how well this company has done the analysis of Indian market. It has carefully identified what are the opportunities and threats that Indian market offers. And by carefully analyzing and also leveraging its strengths and weaknesses, it has cracked Indian market. Therefore, SWOT analysis becomes instrumental whenever you venture into a new market. And let's talk about the origins of the SWOT analysis. Albert Humphrey, who established the SWOT framework at the Stanford Research Institute in the 1960s and early 1970s, deserves credit for the concept of SWOT analysis. A SWOT analysis' ultimate purpose is to reinforce business plan by evaluating all of company's strengths and weaknesses, as well as prospective possibilities and pitfalls in the given market. Let's analyze the various components of SWOT analysis. The first component of SWOT analysis is strengths. Strengths are companies' internal positive characteristics. These are factors that can be changed. Strengths describe what a business excels at and what differentiate it from its competitors. So some of these strengths examples include strong brand name, loyal customer base, sound financial position, innovative technology, highly skilled staff, knowledge of the industry. Something which I would say all these attributes, something which we have seen in the latest entrant, Kia Motors. The second one is the weaknesses. Weaknesses like strengths are internal characteristics of a business. Weaknesses prevent an organization from performing at its best. So some of the examples of weaknesses are weak brand image, high employee turnover, high levels of debt, an inadequate supply chain, inadequate capital, lack of skilled staff, lack of experienced management, and no access to latest technology can also be a major weakness. The third aspect is opportunities. External variables over which organization has no control that provide benefits to firms are referred to as opportunities. They boost the likelihood of success. Factors considered include high demand for product or services, little competition in the industry, favorable legal conditions, improved government policies and schemes can create opportunities for business organizations. T stands for threats. Threats are external that prohibit a business from growing or succeeding. The following are the most common threats. The first one, low demand for products or services. The second one, cutthroat competition. Third, unfavorable economic conditions. Fourth, presence of a monopolist market. Fifth, rising cost of raw materials. So to summarize, SWOT's initial two letters, strengths and weaknesses, relate to internal characteristics within a company. It is related to the resources and industry experience a company may already have. SWOT's final two letters, opportunity and threats, relate to external factors that may have impact on the company. It is responsibility of companies' decision makers to determine whether any of the following factors are a direct or an indirect opportunity or threat to the company. So therefore, this is a framework of studying microenvironment. Now let's talk about the framework of studying the macro environmental analysis. So the framework of studying macroeconomic analysis is called the pestle analysis. In fact, your next chapter covers all the components of pestle. So pestle analysis studies the key external factors, which includes political, economical, socio-cultural, technological, legal, and environmental factors that influence the way in which a business organization functions, its growth and success. It can be used in a range of different scenarios and guide business organizations, professionals, the executive managers in undertaking strategic decisions, decisions that can have long-term impact on the business organization. So therefore, in pestle analysis, you have to do a scrutiny of all those factors that can impact your business and which are uncontrollable, and see whether these factors offers opportunities or do they pose a great threat to the organization. So these are the various components of pestle analysis, which, as I mentioned, you'll be studying detailing in the coming chapter. So with this, we will wind up today's session, and I'll see you soon with a new topic. Goodbye.